everyone. Good afternoon, and welcome to Writers Morning Out, a free gathering of writers of all genres at all levels of experience, sponsored by the North Carolina Writers Network. Speaking of the network, excuse me, they're going to have their fall conference in Asheville this year, the first weekend in November. And you can find out more about it on their website. I have put their link and all the links in chat. The registration for it will begin the 1st of September, around the 1st of September. And we're doing a program on flash fiction or flash prose today because of our upcoming Flash Prose Contest. Penny will be setting out the guidelines soon. She's been out of town. But I can tell you that it's 300 words and that the submission period will begin September 1. The winners will be announced at the September Writers Morning Out program when Tracy Crow and Maxie Jane Frazier will go over the winners and comment on them. I'd also like to note that I'm going to be sharing a number of flash prose, if I can talk, flash prose pieces, and some of which I've transcribed from hard copies. I've tried to be as accurate as I could, but I may have made some mistakes, but not all the weird wording are mistakes. I triple check those. And as some of you know, and as you can tell right now, my pronunciation at times sucks. So I'm going to be asking for volunteers to read some of the work. And I will apologize in advance for any mispronunciation of authors' names. So what is flash prose? Basically, it is just another, it's like any other kind of prose. It's just shorter. Some people say that flash is compressed stories, as in pressing elements together to intensify the telling. Others say distilled, as in removing anything but the essence of the story. John Jefferson defines flash fiction as a narrative that is distilled, cogent, concentrated, layered, elusive, textured, insightful, and unpredictable. It is short but not shallow. It is a reduced form to represent a larger, more complex story that offers an essential truth. Easy peasy, right? So how short is short? Narrative, the online journal, has calls for a 6-word story, similar to For Sale, Baby Shoes Never Worn. Excuse me, this has been attributed to Hemingway, but apparently it appeared long before he could write in ads in newspapers in various forms. And it was attributed to Hemingway sometime after his death. Press 53 calls for stories that are 53 words long, like this one by Lisa H. Owens. Gramp stops digging, gazes sideward. Would somebody like to read this so they don't completely screw it up?
Sure.
Okay, thank you, Terry.
Okay, you ready?
Yep.
Okay, now I got to make sure I can see it, right? That's the hard part.
Do I need to make it bigger?
Yeah, that's what I just did is I made it a little bigger. Okay, Gramps stops digging, gazes skyward, eyes squinting against the morning sunlight. His lips move, and though I can't hear, I know he's arguing with Granny. She has an opinion on everything. Storm clouds loom. Fine, Gramps shouts, cheeks reddening. 2 feet apart, my foot, he mutters. Resetting holes, nevertheless, and the sun re-emerges from Press 53.
So you can see what can be done in 53 words.
A
right?
lot.
A lot. Of course, we call for 300 words, and word counts can go up to 1,500. So generally, Flash is considered 1,000 words or less. You need to check with any publisher that you want to submit to and follow their guidelines, as always. And as in any writing, each word needs to move the story along in one way or another. In Flash, if a word can do more than one thing, so much the better. Take the sentence, she raced down the crowded sidewalk. Racing tells us not only that she's in a hurry, but implies that she has some sense of urgency. And crowded sidewalk conjures up a picture of lots of people, maybe a dog walker or two, but also creates conflict or implies conflict in that there's an obstacle she may have to overcome. When I first thought of Flash years and years ago, I was thinking it in terms of novels, and novels being, a large arc of a span of time comprising of many, many scenes. Short stories being a scene or maybe a couple of scenes. And Flash, just a moment in time. This is very broad generalizations, obviously, almost extending to the unbelievable. However, we have Sebastian Matthews' Flash notes from a Vegas strip that is just that, a moment in time. Would someone like to read this? Julia, thank you.
Note from Vegas Strip by Sebastian Matthews. A land of canned music seeping nostalgically out of every bush. Young women wanting to accompany you in a photo, naked for pasties, a pair of panties, and a set of bunny ears. Elvis impersonator riding around drunk in a scooter cart and insulting passers-by. Earnest men dressed all in black broadcasting the word of Jesus on street corners. Yellow minis, giant hair, and his and her t-shirts announcing King and Queen. Billboards like movie screens, the glitter and the glare glancing across glass buildings backdrop by sherbet blue. Overweight adults lugging flagons of fluorescent Mardi Gras-style hurricanes, freshly washed cars, passing dignified under a giant looping roller coaster. Eager and desperate young men passing out flyers with a signature flair. A stormtrooper next to a Ninja Turtle, next to a Transformer, next to a man sleeping on the sidewalk, his cardboard sign smudged and illegible. A single dancing blue M&M. And the grimy old man in the bright orange t-shirt announcing girls, girls, girls. From Beyond Repair, a memoir and essays.
This isn't your typical story. Obviously, it doesn't have any beginning. It doesn't have any end. It's just a moment in time.
It doesn't have a main character.
It doesn't have anything, right?
Right.
It's just right there. But on the other hand, we have Kate Maruyama, who uses 24 fewer words to span a lifetime in the weight of things. Would somebody like to read this?
Sure.
Okay.
I was 102 pounds when I went to my junior prom. I was 103 when I lost my virginity. I was 130 when I graduated college. I was 128 when I got married and 135 on my honeymoon. It was in Tuscany. I was 156 when I was 5 months pregnant. I was 156 after I lost the baby. I thought the hole left in me would have weighed more. I was 140 when I got pregnant again. I was 190 before I gave birth to my first child. I was 165 for the longest time, but I was all the way down to 150 when he left me. I was 140, a lovely, slim but supple 140 when my daughter went off to college. I was 130 when they diagnosed me. I am 102 pounds again, and still he won't call. Oh,
Oh,
So here we have a beginning, a middle, and an end, right? Spending a whole lifetime, or almost a whole lifetime. You really get a sense of what her life was like. Flash also needs to have conflict, action, and resolution, CAR, which even Sebastian's notes from Vegas Strip has. The young women wanting to accompany you in a photo, naked for pasties, a pair of panties, and a set of bunny ears. Did she accost him? What about Elvis's impersonator riding around drunk in a scooter car and insulting passersby? Conflict there? Certainly action in both of them. And resolution. The grimy old man's t-shirt proclaiming girls, 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 going back to, of course, the young women. Vanessa Gibbies says, good Flash ought to catch you, good Flash ought to catch you as you turn away, hold you, and when you're finished reading, it should echo and resonate. Flash invites us, the reader, to expand the story with our own experiences. Let's look at Lipstick by Sarah Brealey. No, somebody would like to, and this is, this is 100 words, so.
I'll
Yeah.
read that. Okay. We learn to paint our mouths kissable, but we're taught not to. By the parish priests, by our mothers, by 17 magazine. Never on the first date, never more than one boy at a time, never below the neck. We practiced on the mirror and at slumber parties. When boys scratched on the windows, we giggled and shivered. Only Lana slipped out, came back smeared and tight-lipped, full up with stories she wouldn't tell us. At school on Monday, we lipsticked the mirror in the third floor girls' room. Lana sucks. Later, we all learned. Later, we all did it.
So, this little 100-word story, could easily be expanded to our 300 words, or to 1,000 words, or to a short story, or to novels, right? There's so much packed in here. And we're left with questions if we want to ask them. Who are we? What did we look like? What did the mirror and slumber parties look like? What were they like? what did we say when practicing their lipstick in the mirrors? Their skills. How did we react the first kiss? And what about Lana? What's up with her? When we did it, did we think of Lana? And what we wrote on the third floor girls' room mirror? So you can bring these questions to yourself. I mean, you can answer these yourself, or you can let them be, however you relate to the story. Katie Schultz goes beyond all of this with her 5 S's: setting, situation, sensory detail, simile, and shift. Imagine you all are familiar with these elements. Some or all of them are in good creative prose, fiction or nonfiction, and in poetry. So when you look at lipstick here, it includes 4 of the 5 elements: the setting, in front of the mirrors, slumber parties, third floor girls' room, situation, learning about sex, sensory detail, mouths kissable, giggles and shivers. I mean, can't you just hear them?
Yes.
Smeared and tight-lipped. And the shift, we all did it. I'm going to share some works now that emphasize each of these S's one at a time. But please notice how they include some of the other elements also. So setting, of course, is where something happens. And for this, I'm going to suggest Rain by Daniel Wallace. And this is a longer piece. This is the longest one we have, and it's 384 words. And would somebody like to read this one?
I would love to read it. I've met Daniel. I have his book that includes this story. He's I don't remember this one precisely, but he can be really funny and ironic.
Right.
So hang on. Rain by Daniel Wallace. We live near the edge of a town, near the edge of the sea, far away from the wide world. The town is called Rain. It is a place beyond the progress of most, but for others merely a point of departure. This was the common wisdom. Our house was at the very last on the mainland, a lone brown stone cottage, slate shingled with big picture windows on the sunny sides, bright as changed. The light is thick as butter all morning and afternoon. It was dark at night, though. So dark, we were told that in the old days, blind men worked as guides. But I don't think this was true. It was truly dark, though. The sea was not far, and at night the sea was even darker than the sky. Lovers and suicide from town walked past our house on the way to the cliffs. My father stayed up late nights reading, and they followed his light. Between the sound of the waves breaking below us, we could hear them tread the gravel in our drive. On their way, yes, but on their way to what? We wouldn't know, not until the next day, when someone's mother might come by weeping, throwing a bouquet of flowers off the cliffs into her child's wake. The bodies of those who jumped were broken on rocks directly below, swept out to the sea with the tide, and later washed ashore, horribly battered, on the islands to our west. The people on the islands often complain, but there was nothing we could do. In a town of so many thousands, there are bound to be a few unfortunate and hopeless, and we couldn't stop them from jumping. We couldn't make them want to live, nor could we change the currents that washed them to a certain shore every time they jumped. This became an issue every few years, a point of contention between those of us on the mainland and those of us on the islands to our west. Nothing was ever done. A law was passed forbidding lovers from kissing on the precipice, but I believe that was all. And while the rest of us huddled alone in our dark rooms, my father always read very late into the night from Beneath the Moon and Long Dead Stars. Phew.
But I mean, many things about this strike me, but one of them is throwing a bouquet of flowers off the cliffs into her child's wake. Is this the wake of the body as it's being carried out to the ocean on the tide? Or is this the wake following the funeral? Here's another one that really hits me too. Where is that? What struck you about this piece? Does anybody want to comment?
If I may, one thing that struck me as I was trying to read it is how dense and lyrical the language is. It's just, he's just pushing himself right to the edge of poetry at times.
Yes.
And that's very satisfying. A little difficult to read.
His writer tone too was interesting because, it looks like a memory. He's coming back with a memory, right? Because he's talking about growing up there and the like. But what I found interesting was the people on the islands complained, but there was nothing they could do because there are always bound to be a few unfortunate and hopeless, and we couldn't stop them. We couldn't make them want to live. And that's the part I think they actually went back over it 3 times. We couldn't make them want to live, nor could we change the currents in the way. I mean, it's like this inevitable acceptance of the fact that we can do absolutely nothing about these people. Just like the current, we can't do anything about the current. We can't do anything about these people who feel so despondent that they feel there's no other way out, that type of thing. So I don't know. It's pretty moving. I've never heard of it before, so I appreciate you reading it. Thank you.
He's a senior professor in the English department at UNC of creative writing, and much admired. His first step to fame was a novel called Big Fish that was then made into a movie, or maybe a movie of some sort. I have not seen it.
I have a question,
Uh-huh.
if I may. I like the story. I think it's really, really great. But I don't understand exactly why the title is Rain, because to me, this is all about the cliff, the precipice.
Good point.
So I don't know. Does anyone understand why it should be called Rain, or have I misunderstood something here?
Doesn't it say that's the name of the town
Right.
in the very first line?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And because it looks like a memory, it's a memoir type of auto. I mean, yeah, auto fiction is what I was thinking it was, is because of that. And he was talking about this is the town he grew up in and this is what happened, that type of thing. So that's why I thought maybe he named it Rain. So I don't know.
Okay. Thank you.
Carol?
Oh, hi, Margaret.
Hi. I have a comment.
Uh-huh.
Just that last sentence is a real grabber,
Mm-hmm.
and it leaves it wide open for interpretation, the entire piece,
Yeah. Yeah, I guess.
because you have to wonder why.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's an incredible piece.
It is.
Yeah.
I have read it before.
Yeah.
I don't know where, but I've read it before and wondered. When I got to the last sentence, I remembered it. And, yeah.
Well,
Wow.
This next one is at least shorter. It's 53 words. But it also is one about where.
I'll read it.
Thank you, Margaret.
Autumn Sonata by Robert F. Huddle. An October night, Rams on the tube, cold cuts and beer for the guest, who banter about football and food. 3 hours ago, we buried my cousin, 23, needle-tracked arms and all. Hail Marys all around. Now the roar of the crowd drowns the gathering. The autumn moon will soon go, soon. From the world's shortest stories. Wow.
Mm.
I think that was a mistake, my mistake. I don't think he had some.
Oh, okay. Well, I
Sorry.
wondered, but that's okay.
Yep. So we have two different wares, right? Two different settings. One was very expansive and the other was very condensed.
Mhm.
The next S is situation. That's what something's happening, right? And for this, I'm going back to Sebastian Matthews. A wave, and it's about a boy who doesn't want to wave back in 168 words. Somebody like to read this?
Okay, Wave by Sebastian Matthews. The boy who lives up the hill won't look at me, can't look at me, at least not for more than a second before turning away. Back to his private world, I glimpse only in the fluttering of his hands and the quiet word he speaks to himself and only himself. I call out hello and wave just the same, giving him a quick smile and then looking away myself out of respect. I know what he lives with it, know what I don't have access to his world and don't need to. His mom has thanked me for this ritual. He likes being outside, she says. I ask after him when I see her on her own. This new school he's going to helps, she says. He's a good boy, I say, hoping that my interest is seen less as nuisance and more as neighborly goodwill. I don't see him this evening as I stroll with the dogs down the hill. There's a chill in the air and the wind rests the trees, especially the small Japanese maple that stands in their yard as if a small squall has dropped down and brought the tree to life. As I pass by closer, I spy the boy inside the tree, sitting amongst its nest of leaves. He is shaking branches lightly, causing the young tree to undulate all around him. I don't call out, don't have to, just a small smile. For tonight, it is he who waved to me.
Oh.
Nice.
Yes, it's sweet, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
And this should be rustled. The wind rustled the leaves.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
sorry.
Oh.
I don't know if that's how you spell it, but
I don't know how to spell it either now that you mention it.
anyway, so Sarah Freely also writes about a situation. And she does it in 189 words, and it's about being on the road. Somebody like to read this?
I'll read it.
Thank you.
Away by Sarah Freely. We spent our last $3 on a tall boy that we passed back and forth through most of Iowa. 24 hours we'd been driving, away from the sick and the sirens and the smell of the dead in the streets. Truckers honked around us, past us. We waved to the cute ones, hiked our skirts higher on our pale thighs. We were down to warm suds when the needle scraped E, and we pulled into a mom-and-pop station at the next exit. We sat on the curb out front and discussed what we were willing to do for a gallon or two, steal, sell ourselves, and laughed until our pants were damp. The owner called us sweetheart and gave us coffee and a couple of stale donuts before he shut off the lights and headed home. I'd never seen so many stars. Sitting there like that, I was sure I could feel the earth turn out, but you said no. It was probably the grumble of trucks on the interstate. Still, it was nice to think we were moving forward, away from ourselves, even while we were stuck. From Wigleaf.
Hmm. Hmm.
Wow.
What is a tall boy? Is that furniture?
Thank you. That's what I thought.
That's
but
what I thought. It really threw
Yeah.
me.
No, it's a drink. Yeah.
yeah,
Like a tall
yeah,
beer.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah, it also is a piece of furniture. So I was like,
Right.
It took me
There
a
must
minute to
be
catch
some
on.
thrift sale.
It's
To me, the unanswered question in it is, so what about the sick and the sirens and the smell of the dead in the streets? Where'd that come from? Are they running away from something? Or it's unexplained, and that, well, that's too early to be the shift. That's the premise.
right.
When was this written? Do you know? Have any idea? I mean, they talk about the interstate, so it has to be,
I think it was pretty recent.
just curious.
Yeah. I didn't put down the date, but these are all very recent ones. So when I stop sharing and we go back, I can look that up because I have all of the websites for these online journals in the chat.
Oh, perfect.
Good. So,
Thank you.
and I think that the use of the word tall boy really shows how maybe we need to be concerned about our own local language and what we call things, right? So that you don't get that kind of disconnect. On the other hand, Sarah may have wanted us to think of that too. So that's something to consider. Don't know.
And with the use of tall boy, that is a term that's very specific and authentic to the area that she's writing about. So yeah.
Yeah, that's important.
The thing, with the sirens and the smell of dead in the street, especially in this day and time, one thing that came to mind was a mass shooting, which,
Mhm.
which are commonplace nowadays, unfortunately.
That's why I wondered. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I figured it could be the just characterization of urban life,
Exactly. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yep. So the third S is sensory detail. The looking, the hearing, the tasting, the smelling, the feeling. And I can tell you right now, heads up, that Maxie Jane Frazier is going to be one of the judges, and she really loves central details about the senses, or whatever, however you want to say it.
Well, should be very happy with this one. Good grief.
Well, then we have Bath by Amy Laurel, who concentrates on seeing with just a tad bit of smelling and 175 words. Would somebody like to read this?
I got it.
Okay.
Okay. I was looking it over. Bath by Amy Lowell. The day is fresh washed and fair, and there is a smell of tulips and narcissus in the air. The sunshine pours in at the bathroom window and bores through the water in the bathtub in lathes and planes of greenish white. It cleaves the water into flaws like a jewel and cracks it to bright light. Little spots of sunshine lie on the surface of the water and dance, dance, and their reflections wobble deliciously over the ceiling. A stir of my fingers sets them whirling, reeling. I move a foot, and the planes of light in the water jar. I lie back and laugh and let the green-white water, the sun-flawed beryl water, flow over me. The day is almost too bright to bear. The green water covers me from the too bright day. I will lie here a while and play with the water and the sunspots. The sky is blue and high, a crow flaps by the window, and there is a whiff of tulips and narcissus in the air. From All Poetry. I know this is going to sound crazy, and I probably would not have read it if I were just reading it, but reading it aloud, which is why I volunteered, is she has this incredible amount of assonance in here where she repeats the vowels over and over and over. And I'm like, ooh, I like the way that sounds. I like the way that sounds. But had I not, if I just read it, I might not have noticed it. But here, and she's got some alliteration and stuff in there. And I really think most authors should be read aloud. I think it works really wonderful things for us. But yeah, this one
Yes.
especially. And it's all very, like you said, sensory. And it's like, oh, moving the water about, watching the sunspots, hearing the crow go by. Or I'm assuming the crow is making noise. They usually do when they go by, right? So
Oh,
that
yeah.
type of thing, right? And then her laughter. So yeah, there's a lot of sensory detail in this. Although honestly, I didn't know tulips had a smell. I know narcissus does, but I didn't know tulips.
Yeah, I picked up on that too. But what I didn't catch is, could you you said about the vowels? I didn't catch that. Could you read a sentence?
I like to read aloud anyway, I guess. I did it for years. I was a teacher for years, and I used to read to my students, and they preferred it. Actually, they hated reading themselves. But when you have a repeated vowel sound like lathes and planes,
Ah,
right? Yeah. And then she's got that flaw in jewel. I mean, that's actually consonants because it's the W, but the idea there of a repetition of sounds, I was trying to decide if it was deliberate or not. I think some people think like that because she has some rhyme in there too. And maybe she thinks like that, but I'm thinking perhaps, and somebody can correct me if they know this person, I'm thinking it might be deliberate. What do you think?
It felt deliberate to me, but not in a clumsy or contrived way, in a fun way, that she was having fun with it and playing with words.
The other big thing that struck me about this one is that often people don't get in the sense of feeling. I mean, as you read that, you can feel what she's experiencing, or I can, of the bath and the sunshine and the water moving. It's like your whole body takes that in, and that's often not included to that
Oh,
extent.
yeah. If I may, in that second paragraph, third line, I lie back and laugh and let the water flow over me. The day is almost too bright to bear. And there's just a lot of emotion in it.
Lovely.
I'm going to go back to Sebastian now, because his take on an experience he had was all in hearing. Festival by Sebastian Matthews, and this is 194 words. So, would somebody like to read this one?
I'll do it.
Thank you.
Festival by Sebastian Matthews, Black Mountain, North Carolina, NC. Sorry. The opening night, campers were settling into their end of the evening modes. I'm lying next to my tent, Avery and his pal, one tent over, whisper of late night escapade. Someone starts pounding on a board. Man chants loudly in what I presume to be Cherokee. He knocks on the board and chants. quiet. I can hear a guitar faintly playing a folk music tune, laughter further up the field. I'm on my back, looking through the mesh at the top of my tent. Now someone started telling a story, slowly, earnestly. I can barely make out the words, but imagine listeners circled around a fire. A couple of plows close to our tent, drunk. One says to the other, camping is cheating, but a cabin is extra cheating. A tent neighbor coughs the first of a night's worth of coughs, then the knocking board, then the chant again, each word phrase enunciated with precision. To me, a mixture of pride and sadness. Then back to the story. As I listen, understanding little, taking it all in, my body slowly releases the various tightnesses of the day, and my breath, garage car, ticks down to sleep. From Beyond Repair, a memoir and essays. Wow.
You get the picture of the festival, right? But it's all in sound. You can just imagine kind of what these people are doing outside his tent, but it's all through sound. And if anybody has a clue on "and my breath, garage car ticks down to sleep."
Clueless.
Yeah, I can guess on that. I wondered about that, and I'm intrigued. But I think it it means to describe what the air is like if you're running your car in the garage, and it's that feeling of, stuffy exhaust, right? And anyway, that works for me. But I wonder about above the noun, a couple of plows close to our tent, drunk. What are how can plows be drunk? Or
That's a term that he uses.
It's a regional.
And I checked it and it is plows, so I don't know.
okay,
I'll look it up.
yeah, well,
See that I have two things actually, Tom. The one thing I thought of when I heard ticks down to sleep the car is, sometimes when you turn a car off, it'll still go tick, 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 tick.
yeah.
I was thinking maybe that, but I didn't have my breath. Maybe his breath and the car were both in sync. I don't know, because I just kind of fell over that one myself. But the one on plows, I was like, plows close to our tent. And the only thing I could think of, and I live in the country, is they're plowing and you can hear them, and sometimes they're screaming back and forth. But why would they be plowing at night, right? So I don't know. I don't know.
Well, if they're drunk too, I thought.
They could be plowing at night.
Unless that's a term for having sex.
Yeah, that's the only thing I could guess, but I'm trying not to.
Well, now I'm going to the Urban Dictionary to see if that's a slang.
That's what I was looking for.
I know it's in Antigone, the play, like that there are other fields for him to plow. So I think it has been used for a metaphor for sex.
Oh,
Wait.
I mean,
ding,
but I
ding,
don't know.
ding. Catherine, you nailed it. You nailed it. Platforms like Urban Dictionary, plow can refer to sexual activity often used in a lighthearted or vulgar context. Now I learned something new. Thank you.
Yep.
wow.
Okay. I guess I needed to know that.
Yes.
Well, I love it when people put in things like that and you have to look them up to figure it out. It broadens my knowledge.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that he used something too that had such antiquity that also referred back to.
As you read this aloud, the amount of alliteration in it is amazing.
Okay, Okay, the fourth S is simile. And that's comparing one thing to another, generally unrelated, that provides an extended image. And we've seen this in earlier pieces. In Bath, when the sunshine cleaves the water into flaws like a jewel. In Rain, bright is changed, light is thick as butter. And in The Big Curve, I didn't do that one yet. And in the next one is going to be The Falling Game by Jessica. I can't, I'm not even going to try.
Klimisch. Just guessing. Klimisch.
Yeah. This is almost one solid simile. So if someone would like to read.
Carol, I'll read it.
Thank you, Catherine.
The Falling Game by Jessica Klimisch. There is only one rule. When the car turns, stops, or starts again, no matter how gently, no matter how jackrabbit hard, you are to let your body fall as though you were a rag doll, limp, as though your skin were fabric, supple, soft, and smooth, without gently budding curves or awkward angles, as though your hair were yarn, unable to be brushed or altered, as though you were small enough to fit in crevices, cracks, small enough to get lost under a seat amid discarded candy and Cheerios, so small that an adult or young child will cease looking for you if they don't find you right away, as though your body could be squeezed without breaking, yielding but seemingly impenetrable, as though you were filled with spare scraps, batting or cotton, without a mind of your own, without lungs, without a heart, as though if one of your seams were to burst open, you could simply be stitched up, no one the wiser, your laughter and your smiles sewn on, your expression never changing. From Complete Sentence, August 26, 2023.
Oof.
Lots of comparisons in here.
Wow. Yeah.
The fifth S is in shift. Something that's going unexpected or to the universal. We go back to For Sale, Baby Shoes Never Worn. That's certainly unexpected, right? I was surprised to find that Franz Kafka also wrote a Flash. It was not published while he was alive, but after he was dead, in a collection of his works. And here is Give It Up by Franz Kafka.
I'll read this one if no one else is there.
Thank you.
Give It Up by Franz Kafka. It was very early in the morning, the streets clean and deserted. I was walking to the station. As I compared the tower clock with my watch, I realized that it was already much later than I had thought. I had to hurry. The shock of this discovery made me unsure of the way. I did not yet know my way very well in this town. Luckily, a policeman was nearby. I ran up to him and breathlessly asked him the way. He smiled and said, "From me you want to know the way?" "Yes," I said, "since I cannot find it myself." Give it up, he said, and turned away with a sudden jerk. like people who want to be alone with their laughter.
Give it up trying to find where he was walking to, or find his way in life, right? Give it. The next, it's almost 2, and the next one I had is going to be very long. It's another one by Daniel
Wallace.
Wallace. But I'll summarize it because I want to get to something else too. That he's talking about a man who basically has had a one-night stand, and he leaves and goes on a run, gets attacked by a dog, and he comes back and he sees the woman in her apartment window, and he goes up and he says, "Yes, I've been bitten," and she says, "Here, let me fix it," and it ends with, "I didn't even know I needed fixing." So it's not only a shift in his attitude towards the woman and all, but also going to the universal of, I didn't know I needed to be fixed, and here she is fixing us. So you might have noticed that one of the pieces we had was, which one is it? I think it was Bath, and it was from All Poetry, right? So it was published by a poetry site, and yet it is considered prose by some. This is an argument that's been going on for about, how many years? I have it down here. 48 years or so. And it really started with, I'm going to share again. If I can find it. The Colonel by Carolyn Worshey.
Mm-hmm.
And this was, what I read was perhaps maybe one of the first of the prose poems that came out. And this is what started the debate. Is it poetry or is it Flash? And I think that goes to one of the pieces that you remarked on, Judith, with and you also, sorry, I can't see everybody's name, Terry, about the poetry elements in some of these pieces.
Mm-hmm.
I should say that Sebastian is also a poet. And that's kind of where he started out from, his poetry. So, but would somebody like to read this one?
Well, okay.
Thank you.
What you have heard is true. I was in his house. His wife carried a tray of coffee and sugar. His daughter filed her nails. His son went out for the night. There were daily papers, pet dogs, a pistol on the cushion beside him. The moon swung bare on its black cord over the house. On the television was a cop show. It was in English. Broken bottles were embedded in the walls around the house to scoop the kneecaps from a man's legs or cut his hands to lace. On the windows, there were gratings like those in liquor stores. We had dinner, rack of lamb, good wine. A gold bell was on the table for calling the maid. The maid brought green mangoes, salt, a type of bread. I was asked how I enjoyed the country. There was a brief commercial in Spanish. His wife took everything away. There was some talk then of how difficult it had become to govern. The parrot said hello on the terrace. The colonel told it to shut up and pushed himself from the table. My friend said to me with his eyes, "Say nothing." The colonel returned with a sack used to bring groceries home. He spilled many human ears on the table. They were like dried peach halves. There is no other way to say this. He took one of them in his hands, shook it in our faces, dropped it into a water glass. It came alive there. "I am tired of fooling around," he said. "As for the rights of anyone, tell your people they can go fuck themselves." He swept the ears to the floor with his arm and held the last of his wine in the air. "Something for your poetry, no?" he said. Some of the ears on the floor caught the scrap of his voice. Some of the ears on the floor were pressed to the ground. May 1978.
What a cheery piece to end with, but I have seen this with like this, justified with the line breaks, and I've seen it also with just looking at it as a straight prose. But with it justified and with the line breaks like they are, it looks like a poem. So what do you think? Is this a poem, or is it prose, or is it both?
I give it both. What I found interesting was that when I read 1978, I thought, oh my gosh, this is about Nicaragua and their uprising, and they took their ears off, and to show that they had captured them, and blah blah blah. I was like, holy cow! But there's a lot of detail in here, a lot of visual detail, and a lot of, I mean, like the pistol on the cushion beside him. It's like, really? And then the parrot, and anytime somebody writes about a parrot, I automatically hear it squawking in my head. So there's a lot of sensory stuff in this one too. What I would call it prose. I mean, I think I would sit on it solidly as prose, but I mean, I, I don't know.
I agree, Terry. I feel like this is more clearly prose. There were a couple of the earlier short pieces that we read that I was thinking, now how is this not a prose, a prose poem? What's the difference between this and a prose poem? Because that's one of the questions we ask in our poetry workshop that I'm taking. But this seems to me prose, and I had the great privilege of hearing her read um, once, and she's radical, and hearing her read is radicalizing. One of her poems that she read for us describes this kind of brutal treatment within a prison camp.
Yeah,
And her last line of it is something to the effect is, "There is nothing one man will not do to another." After she describes all this stuff, and it just still gives me chills to think about it.
Yeah, she's brutal. Is she older? Because I'm thinking
Yes.
there was a time when I was in school, back when dinosaurs roamed the earth, that we called this prosody. It was like kind of poetry, kind of prose, so we called it prosody. And I don't know if
Oh,
that term still exists, but I think it would apply here if we had to find that medium, that middle ground.
yeah, it's the first I've heard it. I like it. Very convenient.
I think I would call it a poem just because Carolyn Forche is a poet. And I'm
Right.
trying to remember the story. I had to look it up. She wrote that book called The Country Between Us. I
Mhm.
think it was her sister who was killed during this time. And then she went down to investigate. I'm trying to remember the details. It's been so long. But does anybody remember it? I've got Wikipedia up here. Let's see.
We may
Yeah.
think of this as prose, but the Poetry Foundation has it on their website.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
Did you see what you were looking for, Julia?
I'm just looking to see about, I can't remember the story of that, but I know it was from the country between us. Here, she personally experienced it was El Salvador at the beginning of the Salvadorian Civil War. Yeah, I can't remember. Oh, I didn't know she was Slovak. Okay. That's her background. Okay. And her grandmother was imprisoned during the Nazi occupation of the former Czechoslovakia. Okay. I did not know that. But it seems like there was something, and I can't find it in this Wikipedia, but I'm trying to remember because I remember reading The Country Between Us, like, extemporaneously when it came out and stuff. But maybe I'm confusing her with someone else who had a sibling killed in El Salvador. Okay. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sorry. That's all I got from Wikipedia quickly.
Carol?
Yes?
I know you mentioned the contest at the beginning of today's session. So you said it's the link will go up on September 1st or thereabouts for this.
Penny told me that the submission period is going to be September 1 through September 11. And she will send out the guidelines.
Okay, got it.
And it is important to look at the guidelines and follow them. When I was regional rep and did this, I would reject 2 or 3 out of the bat just because they were not following the guidelines.
Got you. Okay.
And one of the reasons we do this is to kind of train people to look at the guidelines. So they're
Thank you.
okay. And then just to wrap up real quickly, Bath by Amy Laurel was posted in all poetry, but this looks like prose. There's no line breaks. There's no attempt to make it look like a poem. So I think that, the debate is still on. And Terry, I used to hear lyrical prose as a way to describe kind of a poetry within a prose context. So, yeah.
One thing I've been meaning to remark is we read through all of these. Not very many of them have what I consider a normal aspect, I'm sure we all do, of prose, of fiction, is very little dialogue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know what to make of it. The few times that I've tried to do flash fiction, I always end up with some dialogue.
Yeah. I think that, in part as the ones that I chose, I tried purposely to keep them short so that we could look at a number of them.
Sure.
So you look at them and some will have more dialogue than others, but some books, some stories have more dialogue.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's all kind of similar. Tom?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you. My battery's about to run out. So if I disappear, I just wanted to be sure I said thanks because I got a lot out of this. I'm ready to start writing, see what happens. So
Good.
really appreciate the examples, the range, and the 5 S's and all that. Very helpful.
Good. I'm glad. Does anybody else have any closing comments?
Well, just a hearty thank you.
Oh, you're a hearty welcome. All righty. So Tracy's going to be doing her craft session. I'm looking at my calendar, the last Tuesday of this month, which would be the 25th. And don't forget about checking out the conference, because I think that it will be a good one. So, and I'll look forward to hearing or seeing the results of the contest, our contest. It's always fun. So,
Oh, it is. Yeah, be sure and
yeah,
come if you haven't been before.
yeah, and even if you don't submit, with
You'll
these,
you,
you
you'll just
always,
learn you'll just learn a
always,
lot. Yeah.
always learn a lot. So, all righty.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank